Hyde-White.
Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Tonight, a man named Eddie Jacks walks through the town, getting the feel of it, looking it over. Eddie lived here once, worked here, and conned his way through life, here. He had a wife, Ada, who worked in the tavern with him. He had a daughter, Rita. He had debts and something to hide. And one day he left. Now Eddie Jacks is back in Peyton Place. He wants most people to forget his past. He wants to take advantage of those few who will remember. Who must remember.
Who is it?
It's me, Ada. I got that pack of cigarettes. Don't you remember, Ada? I walked right through that door telling you I was going to get a pack of cigarettes. So it took me 18 or 19 years. I wouldn't have made such a racket, but I thought you must have changed the lock by now.
You.
Ada. Well, you, really haven't changed much of anything, have you? Same tables and chairs. Same little old beer barrel. And the same seascapes on the wall. Well.
Don't touch me.
Well, I don't know what I'm doing waiting around here. It's been almost an hour now. It's obviously been delayed, a flat tire or something. Oh, Mr. Peyton doesn't expect me to stay around all night. I have some work at the hospital, you know.
Oh, now take it easy, Doctor. Waiting is part of the game.
What game?
Grandfather's not above using a device like that to create a little tension.
Well, I didn't come over here to play games. I'm beginning to wonder why I accepted his invitation in the first place.
Well, maybe you're just curious, Mike, like the rest of us.
Stephen.
Hey, what's the matter, Betty? Think I'm talking out of turn? Oh, we are curious, aren't we? You know, we didn't know you were coming to dinner, Mike, until you showed up. Now, that did make us curious. And then we're curious about Grandfather's reaction to something. He found out today I'm going to subpoena his will. That's right. Take him to court, prove he's incompetent. Now, his will's enough, but I have other evidence.
I thought I'd already made it clear I'm not interested.
Well, you made it perfectly clear you won't help me.
You nor anyone else.
Well, now, come on, Mike. You accepted his invitation. What did you think he invited you here for, a celebration?
Stephen, you're being terribly rude. Mike, I'm sorry.
No, that's right. He's probably right. Mr. Peyton is going to use me to prove he is competent.
And will you let him?
No? Good night, Betty.
Mike.
Betty, I'm sorry. I can't stay. Tell Mr. Peyton I had to get back to the hospital.
Here we are. Here we are. After you, my dear. Oh, Doctor, you're just the man we want to see. Hello, Betty. How are you? Hello, Stephen.
Mr. Peyton,
Yes, we're late. Sorry, kept you waiting. I'm so sorry. Couldn't be avoided. Would you like to come along with me, Dr. Rossi? There's something I want to talk to you about.
Traffic was very heavy. It took us much longer than we expected.
You must be tired.
Yes, a little.
Can I get you something?
No, I don't think so, thanks. I think I'll just go up and change. Excuse me.
Mrs. Van Leyden has asked me to help her to set up a foundation, living tribute to her husband's memory, to carry on his research in leukemia and related diseases. She's of the opinion, which I'm bound to say I heartily second, that you're just the man to head the project.
Well, I find that difficult to believe.
Why, because of your flare-up the other day? Oh, nonsense. Mrs. Van Leyden's interest in perpetuating her husband's work goes far beyond any petty clash of personalities.
How very noble of her.
Oh, come, please, Doctor. There's a substantial grant at stake, a large sum of money.
Why me, Mr. Peyton?
Well, you worked with Van Leyden, didn't you?
I was on his staff.
Then perhaps you'll consider it. You can set up the foundation any way you like. Naturally, hire the top men in that particular field. You can have what staff and equipment you think necessary. I will, of course, underwrite the project, just like I did for Van Leyden. What do you say? Well?
Well, I'll need some time to think it over. After all, you're asking me to head a research team that may be one of the top projects of its kind in the country.
Then why do you hesitate?
Because the offer comes from you.
Ho, ho, ho. Looking a gift horse in the mouth, eh?
I know you, Mr. Peyton. I know you wouldn't make an offer like this unless there was some personal motive behind it.
Can you risk refusing an opportunity to discover a cure for this tragic disease just for this fantasy, Doctor, for personal prejudice?
There are plenty other capable men in the country capable to set up your foundation. If your primary concern is to continue the work of Dr. Van Leyden, you won't have any problems.
What other concern might I have?
Tell me why Adrienne Van Leyden is so willing to bury the hatchet when she knows my suspicions concerning her husband's death.
Do you really think Mrs. Van Leyden and myself are trying to reward you for your suspicions?
No, not reward me. Silence me.
Oh, come, Doctor. You have a poor opinion of us. Well, perhaps you'll change your mind, both about us and our offer. I most certainly hope so. Now, come along, let's join the others. Give Mary a chance to get things started. Come along.
Thank you.
Doctor, nice of you to stay to dinner. I know how busy you are. There you are, Adrienne. Now then, before dinner, there's something I'd like to tell all of you that has made me very happy. Mrs. Van Leyden has graciously consented to become my wife.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And best wishes.
Thank you, Dr. Rossi.
How nice. I hope you both will be...
Oh, I'm sorry, Grandfather. You'll have to forgive me, Mrs. Van Leyden. Or should I say grandmother?
Come with me, my dear.
Stephen, how could you?
How could he?
You can't go in there.
I wouldn't miss this celebration for anything.
It's working.
It is.
It's a smoke screen, my dear, our engagement. A very effective smoke screen.
Covering up what?
Oh, come, Adrienne, please.
No, I'm serious, Martin. Just exactly what does our engagement cover up?
My needs.
Your needs to break up Betty and Stephen. But you're keeping me away from Stephen. You're putting us apart. I don't understand.
Listen carefully, will you?
Oh, don't talk to me like a child, Martin.
Shh. Start shouting. The chords are just down the passage. You know that. You see, my dear.
He said, putting it into short sentences and words of one syllable so the thick-headed female would understand.
Now, listen to me. Betty was onto us, don't you see? I had to do something to prevent her acting out of a sort of hurt pride.
What could she do?
I don't know. She might have tried to persuade Stephen to leave this house.
But he loves this house. He worships this house.
Betty could hardly consider our engagement as an aggressive act against her marriage.
But it is.
Oh, it is. We'll break up Stephen and Betty. We will.
You've made me so happy. Just think what a delicious honor to be engaged to Martin Peyton. Just wait till the girls on the street hear this one.
as to our engagement, my dear.
Yes? To our engagement, Martin.
He must know how ridiculous he sounds. And that ring, how it comes alive on your hand, my dear. It was made for you.
Stop it, Stephen.
Can't that wait, Mary?
If you don't mind, sir, just take a minute.
Well, let it wait, Mary, please.
Yes, Mr. Cord.
You said stop us, Stephen? Do you approve?
It's his life.
And our future.
I'm not so sure we have a future.
What are you talking about?
Stephen, why does this mean so much to you?
She is making a complete fool out of him.
Isn't that what you wanted? More evidence to prove his incompetence?
Now listen, Betty.
You laughed when he said he was bringing a woman into this house as his guest. Now, why can't you laugh now, Stephen?
Because it isn't funny now.
Well, it's still an old man and a young woman. Isn't that funny anymore? Stephen, you don't have to answer me. It's all over your face. The way you used to look at Rodney when you thought I still cared for him. Well, that's just the way you looked at your grandfather tonight.
I don't have to stand here and hear this.
The moment she walked into this place, you couldn't take your eyes off her, and you still can't. No, Stephen, she's not making a fool out of your grandfather. She's making a fool out of you.
Blast it all.
Can I quote you on that?
What I have to say about these draperies isn't fit to print. You're lucky, you know. You have a newspaper, deadlines. So-and-so has to be completed by such and such. No ands, ifs, or buts.
Oh.
That's it.
Somehow I never thought of the deadline as a blessing, that's for sure.
Well, it is if you don't have one. I have to make one for myself. I have to redecorate this room by the end of this month. That's my deadline.
Well, what are we doing, taking in boarders?
No, we're turning it into a guest room. Very transient. Well, was the story difficult for you to print?
No. But Chandler's finally left our lives. I hope forever.
Somehow, I can't be concerned about a man like Chandler.
No, neither can I.
At least Rachel's safe now.
Yeah, I called Dr. McAvoy. He said he wasn't going to tell her anything about Chandler until after a while.
Well, there's no need. Oh, these drapes.
Sit down, and would you forget about the drapes, please, and forget about Chandler, and forget about Rachel. Just for tonight.
What was that for?
It was for you.
Any special reason?
Because I like you.
May I have a refill?